no Mike tonight, guys. You know what that means, right?
Party! Take the
Cocaine!
pants off!
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do one of the best episodes of Roast Mortem ever. Hi, welcome to Roast Mortem. It's a show without Mike and me yelling. I'm Tom.
I'm Travis. I have 30 grand and I'm not giving it to Mike.
Oh, shit. I am your Cody for this evening, and I, too, have similar funds, but will not be relinquishing it to anyone named Mike.
Guys, guess what Mike said and why he said he wasn't here tonight.
Trying to get $30,000?
He's trying to get $30,000, but he's doing it at a bowling tournament. And the grand prize is $30. And he thinks if he does this 1,000 times, then he's going to come out on top. But
doesn't it cost like $11 to enter that bowling game championship?
Yeah, it does. So
I think Mike is the regular old Mark Maron of the show. I'm just saying. He's the most
He's a genius.
He's a genius and he loves self-pain. So what's up, boys?
He's holding GameStop.
Yes, he is a holder. Cody, how was your week, man?
Oh, my week was good. Very aloof. I remember it must have been like, at this point, maybe been like 5 episodes ago, where I think I told you guys during my How Was Your Week that I ordered something from my local kitchen, and it was the wrong order, and I didn't know what it was, and I ate all of it.
Oh, the pizza you ate, and you're like, what did I just eat? Oh,
yeah.
no.
Found out it wasn't pizza. It was ravioli.
Wait, you ate a bowl of ravioli?
It was ravioli?
It wasn't a bowl. They put it in a pizza box, and it was extra confusing. That's why it happened.
Wait,
but
they just slopped ravioli in a pizza box?
Yeah, I think they were out of containers or something.
What the fuck is wrong with Hawaii?
Oh. It's not Hawaii. It's just fucking kitchen. So, yeah, it's the only thing on their menu that uses feta cheese. So I did a little research, and apparently pumpkin ravioli was the mystery thing I ate back in the day.
Wait. So for those of you at home, Cody is wearing sunglasses, and he just took them off. It's like
to reveal more sunglasses.
Yeah!
Straight up. Well, I'll put sunglasses on for that. Also, I didn't know you guys had fall over there. So congratulations on pumpkins on the beautiful Aloha Islands.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, I know. Travis, your week, how was it, man? Tell us. This is why the people come.
So
yeah, not for me.
No, they come for you, Cody. We want to know what mystery meat you ate. So for me, I'm basically like, I'm the new Silicon Valley. I told you I built like a computer.
Yeah, what you got?
It's cool. And I bought some more flashy lights in it because like I'm a gamer word.
You're RGBing.
Yeah. So I went to go it's got a tempered glass case on it. Right?
That's important.
Yeah, so you can see the cool stuff I did.
Right.
The important,
so I'm taking
expensive
it off.
Things.
I wanted to put in some ground effects, some ground lights. Like I have a Civic.
Oh God.
And I wanted to also do some like internal lighting, some combs and shit. Taking off the tempered glass case. All the screws are off. I pull it out, and it just explodes out into my face.
They always do.
Like, bah!
There's many a silly YouTube video of, like, that tempered glass exploding for no fucking reason.
Dude,
it's got to be, like, a manufacturer defect or something.
It went everywhere. It's in my couch. It was in my shoes for, like, 3 days. Couldn't get it out.
Like, it got in my yogurt. It tasted bad.
Dude, let me tell you. So now I have this reproduction Rembrandt that's just covering my computer hole because
I like this.
I don't want shit to get in there. But yeah. So I was like a soldier in Afghanistan and windows shattered in my face.
Right. You have a computer that looks like it belongs on Hempstead Turnpike, and it crashes as if it was on Hempstead Turnpike.
Very ventilation, though.
Yeah, that Intel powered Popeye's chicken.
Dude, now, I just didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe a ghost stuck its penis through the glass or something, and I was just like, "What? What?
God damn it!"
Yeah.
Or not Cody, Tom.
I said the mystery food thing already.
Yeah.
Am I done embarrassing myself?
Tom, what was your mystery week?
Oh, my mystery week was also, Travis, Cody, you guys know, we don't have lives. We're sitting inside rotting at the moment.
I'm afraid that our listeners will figure that out.
Well, I just told them. The veil's been pulled back We can see what's going on here. So I have a computer thing. I don't know, dude. Like I've been getting carpal tunnel, and my pinky's been going numb on my right hand, and I need that pinky because maybe I want to have fun in the future.
I mean, the pinky is the most important part when you're jerking off. That's what really controls the shaft.
Well, I don't know if I can speak to that knowledge, but perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps you have a point. Now, I'm like, all right, I need to fix this hand, and I don't want to stretch. I need to buy a piece of equipment that will help me with this.
Yeah, money.
So I used money, and I bought this Logitech mouse that is a vertical mouse.
Tom, I thought that was a sex toy when you showed it to me.
It looks very strange, and it's like I'm shaking hands with a stranger for 8 hours every day.
Is it a loose or firm handshake?
Well, it's a very loose one. I mean, you guys can see. Look at my hand. This is the mouse and how I hold it.
No,
he's holding it up, and it looks like he's just like kind of like
slightly obscene.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable.
I do love it, but what I needed, what was even more fun to add to my desktop was not the excellent keyboard I bought too. Shout out to Logitech; they really do a great job.
Keyboard, great.
But Googling biggest mouse pad into the old Amazon and getting a tablecloth as mouse pad material.
I like this.
I fell asleep on my computer the other day. It was great. Very comfortable. And you guys know I got the tall bed.
Dreams.
I got the tall bed going on. Now I have the thinnest bed going on, the widest, the thing I can lay down several children and put them to nap time and then go to my other bed.
That's a good mouse pad.
Yeah, so that's it. Not that exciting. Got a mouse pad and I'm shaking hands with plastic all day.
Travis. So we got 2 computer boys and 1 food CSI boy.
This has been possibly the worst How Was Your Week ever. So I think we should really move along. We should bury this one quickly. Travis, I hear you've done the research. Who's on the chopping block?
I'm going to put this out here right now. What y'all know about liberalism, brother?
Shout out.
Libertarianism.
Yeah, boy.
Those are different words you said. Yeah.
That's the opposite.
Yeah, man. You know me. I know a lot of things about libertarianism. Firstly, small governments. Secondly, 9/11 was an inside job. Thirdly, get off my lawn. Big fan of it. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
There's
tonight,
snakes in my lawn. Don't step on them.
Tonight, we are roasting the fairy godmother of this fantasy political movement.
Oh, God, don't say it. No!
Okay.
It's this episode.
All right, guys, this is gonna hurt for me.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna listen.
I mean, Cody, you intentionally avoid, even outside of the show, avoid politics.
I know, and you're making me do it for the show now. Seems I've been checkmated. I'm gonna hang dong and protest.
I'm a personally very conflicted person when it comes to I'm personally conflicted person. Wow, I need a new mouth. So what I'm saying is that some of my favorite people in politics are Bernie Sanders and Alex Jones. I am beside myself all day, every day. I don't know what to think. Travis, you're going to help me think right by the end of this one, right?
So the thing about Rand, I did a bunch of research on her. So it's a her, by the way. A lot of people don't even know that Ayn Rand is a chick.
Well, there you go. If you're one of those socialists, you could just hold your mouth for a second, tell your libertarian friend that Ayn Rand was a woman, and then they'll change their whole philosophy.
Yeah. So although Rand is cited by almost every right-wing politician today that claim to espouse to any type of libertarianism, I mean, both Ted Cruz and Paul Ryan stood in front of Congress and recited lines from Rand's magnum opus, Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand or Ayn Rand, I'm going to go between the two. I've heard it. We'll get to that.
Me too.
Right, but Ayn Rand was not a libertarian. In fact, she hated libertarians.
Wow.
Now, her real philosophy that she created was something called objectivism. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
No, but it sounds fine on paper.
It sounds like a stolen term.
Well, yeah, like most of Rand's stuff, it was stolen.
Okay,
well,
that sounds about right.
Yeah. So I've been researching Rand and objectivism for weeks now, and I must say that it is by far the dumbest, most contrived way of thinking I have ever come across. I mean, this philosophy pretty much is, it just states like kind of the obvious, and then like how you shouldn't live. But we're gonna go into that because I mean, there's so many fallacies and loopholes in this philosophy. It's kind of like if you went to town on a sex stall with a lathe. You can just make any hole you want, right? Like, doesn't matter.
It's kind of freeform at that point once you have a lathe, right?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Michael from Vsauce here. Let me show you how to make a hole in a pineapple.
Basically, when it boils down to, Rand's objectivism is capitalist utopia in a response to Marx's communist utopia.
Great.
Oh.
Which, you know.
So
Flawed.
read his book, and then whenever he says is, put is not.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Okay.
All right, learn a lot.
So we're gonna have some fun with this pea-brained philosophy in a bit, but before we get into it, let's learn a little bit more about this little Russian Jewish woman, and that gave both narcissistic businessmen and backwoods MRE eating preppers strange boners, because they both get strange boners from this woman.
My body is ready.
I'm fine.
And that's right. Like Ayn Rand, I said, was a woman, and she was a Jewish woman as well, which I think some libertarians are probably with their Jewish laser beams and things.
What? You know, I have met a bunch of libertarians, and I get this phrase a lot. You know, you're all right, which kind of says that there's maybe some strange thinking happening right there.
Yeah. Immediately before they said that, they asked you what your last name was. And you're like, Saltman. And they're like,
you're one of the good ones.
You're all right.
Yeah, exactly. You just say, look, I'm in debt too. Like, I don't really run any bank.
Listen.
I've never met a single Rothschild. I'm like you. I peel my own potatoes. Okay.
Wow.
So I want to put it out there. A lot of the real drama happens towards the end of her life. Her life is kind of boring. We're dealing with a whiny, complaining, smelly cat lady, pretty much, who is always ready to take handouts any opportunity that drops in her lap.
Great.
Yeah. So, all right. So the most American capitalist author in America is a Russian Jewish woman. Her name is Ayn Rand. And if you're like, that's a weird name, it's because it's made up. It's not a real name.
All names are made up, but... What?
Yeah,
and I'm not talking more fabricated than anything else.
Well, I'm not even just talking like a pen name, right? You've got like Mark Twain. He used a pen name.
Yeah,
this was a reinvention of herself when she came to America. She was like, I need to come up with a name that'll make me fit in. How about Ayn Rand?
So she voluntarily Ellis Island herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could have gone with Jessica Rabbit and no one would have batted an eye. I mean, like this Ayn Rand, let me think of the ways.
O.J. Simpson.
So her real name is Alyssa Zinovena Rosenbaum, and she was born in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1905.
Okay.
Now, if you had to do like a pick, right? I think I do this sometimes on the show. It's like, if you had to pick a time to be born, St. Petersburg, Russia would probably be the most turbulent time to be born in the 20th century at 1905, right? Because this is right before the revolution.
Right.
So, like, as we know, there was a Russian revolution that happened during World War I. The Russian oligarchy was thrown out. Communists moved in. If you were a Russian peasant, this would have been the happiest time of your life. But for little Alyssa, who was 12 when the February Revolution happened in 1907, this was the end of her entitled, cosmopolitan bourgeoisie life.
Okay.
Wow.
Shame.
So the Rosenbaums were aristocrats in all but the title. They were well off. They attended private schools. They had a large apartment in Russia's most cosmopolitan city, St. Petersburg. The only thing that they couldn't escape was anti-Semitism.
It's tricky.
Because, we're in Europe, and it's Jewish people, and I don't know. They just don't gel.
Yeah, it's weird.
Historically speaking, enough said.
I like that.
Yeah. So she couldn't escape this anti-Semitism, and Alyssa was a very bright young girl. She attended one of the top schools in Russia, and she had dreams of going to one of the top colleges, the St. Petersburg Imperial University.
Ooh.
But the problem was that they limited the amount of women and Jews that could go to the college. So she never had a chance to go to this college.
Because she's a Jewish woman.
Yeah. Got two problems there.
It's rough.
Two strikes.
And remember, this isn't communist Russia. This is
Oligarchy Russia.
imperial. Yeah.
This is Rasputin time. This is
Yeah.
let's throw our hands up. Let's
Yeah.
spin the bottle. Let's see what happens.
Right. So during the communist revolution, when Big Dick Rasputin shows up, or when he's kicked out, rather, when he's kicked out in the river, poisoned, whatever.
Well, when he
happened
died,
to
he
him.
got the boner. So, yeah, that's when Big
Yeah.
Dick Rasputin showed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Revisit our episode about Rasputin, a man who liked to fuck.
He died, not how you thought.
Yeah. So during the communist revolution, the Rosenbaums were displaced for a while. They traveled down to the Crimea to avoid the violence. Remember, they had the money to do that. But after a time, they decided to move back to St. Petersburg, which was now called Petrograd. It's Soviet.
Oh, boy.
Because
It's
Soviet.
yeah, it's one of those. It's this time frame. Good.
Yeah, in Soviet Russia, we call everything great and Skov.
What does great actually mean? Just like great.
Great.
Peters, great.
Maybe grid because it's like municipal, so it's like Lenin grid, Stalin grid.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that's a good time to leave the country.
It's a good time to leave the goddamn hemisphere, honestly.
Well, yeah, well, they're not. They're like, we're St. Petersburgers. Is that what you call them?
Sure.
We're Petrogrades.
We're Peter nuts.
Yeah, we're Peter nuts. And so Alyssa, by this time, she had graduated high school in the Crimea, but now she was introduced to this new lifestyle that the Rosenbaums were living in Petrograd. Well, there was nothing opulent that they used to have before. They lived in a small apartment, and they lived like the rest of their comrades, you know?
Like comrades.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing was these nasty commies that she hated so much, now that they had taken over, she was able to go into that top college I was talking about because the communists did not put a quota on women or any ethnicity or Jewish background.
Okay.
So because
right.
of communism, Ayn Rand
Goes
was
to
able to
school.
go to college at her top university.
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel bad about this. I don't know why. I feel bad though.
Well, because it's communists and they're not that great, but also it's
It's
like,
no,
they
it's
got
not
the
even that.
justice part down.
No,
Crap.
It's not even that. It's almost like the universe doesn't know what it's doing. Like, oh, you made Ayn Rand from socialists taking over and running things. You okay?
Look, Cody,
You okay, universe?
Look.
Feeling good?
I know what you're thinking, and I'll say it for you. Maybe we should have less women in college. Maybe it's like kind of a burden to have all these women who are just like smarter than us.
I hate smart women.
I
Isn't
hate
it
more than
it's-
anything.
Oh my god, it kills. Oh, I hate it.
As a
It just
man,
grinds
oh
my
God.
Look at these two proud
Son
boy
of a bitch.
Peterson sons right here.
Yes. Yeah, it's Jordan Peterson joining your podcast and saying,
Bitch,
that
you just used a word I don't know. Leave.
you should not educate women unless they're your daughters, and every other one's daughter is a slut. That's
And
That's
only
what I
then you have
learned.
to pick your favorite daughter.
Okay.
guys,
so
it's
this
not funny. Continue.
That
Yeah.
hurt. Yeah, that was
that
weird.
was
for me.
weird, guys. So Alyssa dreamed about she's going to college at the best college in Russia, which is one of the best in the world.
Good.
Even though the communes are there. And she dreamed about the freedoms that she had read about in America. The place of capitalism, where everyone has a fair shot at doing whatever the hell they want to do, right? That's what it's all
Oh,
about.
Fair shots. Yeah.
So, I mean, she's dreaming about this even though she's given the opportunity to go to college at a time in America when the only people that went to college were white men. That's right. There's no blacks there because of Jim Crow, and women just got the right to vote, so they're not going to college.
Wow.
No.
Travis dropping the B word there like it's nothing. Wow. Okay. fine.
I think that women should have been allowed to go to college before getting the right to vote. I think that would have been a lot better for everyone.
Right, but she's seeing this as the place of endless opportunity, and it's like, dude, you wouldn't even go to college.
Is she a lesbian?
No.
That's a shame. I'd like to
What
imagine
prompted
that.
you.
I don't know. I'm just like, it's fine. She's trying to talk about opportunity.
I don't know, Cody. I'm doing a fucking podcast. Shut up.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So, thanks to charity and altruism of her friends and family, in 1929, she scored a travel visa to go visit her relatives that lived in Chicago. This was before the whole Iron Curtain dropped, so the Soviets were like, yeah, go ahead and travel. You know?
That is mind-blowing to me. The Soviets just like, yeah, go to Chicago.
Yeah. No,
there's some goddamn communists that stamp that passport for the nation, the good, humble nation of Chicago.
Let me tell you, little Jew girl, you leave the country, you tell me when you come back how you like deep dish pizza, okay?
Love Michael Jordan.
You make sure you tell me, okay, little Jewish girl, you have fun in Chicago. Have hot dog.
They have that big shiny bean. I love shiny bean.
You make sure, do your duty to your country. I just went Austrian.
I liked it.
So, of course, she's sailing across the Atlantic because this is before planes. And she arrives in none other than New York City. Where everyone arrives.
You can't get to Chicago by the Atlantic.
No. And, of course, this was so impressive. It made such a big impact on her life. She's like, oh, look, it's tall buildings. Actually, she wrote back. She's like, I am just like a New Yorker. I don't even look up at the
buildings.
She was like bragging to her friends about that.
But it's cute though. That's cute. That's like, I fit in here. This is fun. Hey, look at my life now.
That's good.
very Borat moments.
Hey guys, when I get a coffee at the cart, I know how much it is already. So I just put the change on top of the counter. It's just going to be Ren Hoek by the end of this. I know it.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I like New York so much.
So Alyssa at this point was like, fuck this Jewish name. I don't want to be called Rosenbaum. I'm going to fit it. I'm going to fit in with the Americans. So let me make up a name, right? So she goes with Ayn Rand or Anne Rand. I've heard it both ways. But the thing is, it doesn't matter because it's a made up name.
Right, like Whoopi Goldberg.
It doesn't exist. So a lot of people there's a bunch of like theories about where it comes from. So Rand may have been a shortened version of her last name, Rosenbaum, because that's what it looks like in Cyrillic. Okay. Like, it doesn't look like that to us, but when you write it in Cyrillic, it's like, oh, I kind of see Rand in there. Or it could have been based on her Remington Rand typewriter that she lugged across the Atlantic with her.
I feel like that might be it.
Yeah.
It's not a what's it called? An anagram of any Nard?
Nard? Like my nads?
Rand?
Any Nard,
She any Nard. Scrambled the letters in her name into any Nard.
Any Nard. And Ein or Anne is, some people say it's randomly a Finnish name, and then other people say that it comes from Hebrew for I, but she never gave an explanation for either of these because I don't know.
Who cares? Like, who's interviewing her? So tell us about that name, crazy cat lady. Tell us about, why'd you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that just never got breached in her many public press appearances.
Fuck no.
Shortly after the name change, she gets on a train and heads off to Chi-Town to go meet up with those relatives.
Nice. Windy City.
Now, of course, Chicago's great and all, but Rand is in America. And she wants a taste of real America. You know, the true grit, the spirit of America, right?
Chicago's an okay place for that, I guess.
Yeah, but where do you think, like, the realest place in America to go to is?
Chief Keef's house.
Los Angeles.
Vermont?
Oh.
Okay.
I take it back. So she goes to a beautiful city.
Yeah. So she's like, I need to go to LA because that's where they make the movies. And I've seen some American movies. Let me tell you, I like the movies. That's the real America.
Guys, no joke. The song I Love L.A. by Randy Newman is one of the heaviest songs I've ever heard in my fucking life. Holy shit, that song is like...
Wow.
That shit hits.
It's not by Anne Randy Newman?
Oh.
Turn the show off.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to Roastmortem.
We're done. Patreon.com/RoastMortemcast.
GiveCodyMoney.com.
Gov.
So, this 21-year-old girl, she's 21 at this point. Remember, I'm moving kind of quick here.
Move quick.
So, she's 21, and she's like, fuck Chicago. Hey, relatives, could you give me some money? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Go have fun.
It's free. We run the banks.
Yeah. So, she heads off to the land of Harvey Weinstein's, and she promises all of her relatives back in Chicago that she's going to be famous, and she will give them all mink coats. That was on. I'm going to give you a mink coat. One for each of
Wow.
them. Never happened.
Oh, maybe they're coming.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
She didn't put an expiration date on that promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, we have Ayn Rand in the city of prolapsed angels. Right.
Nice. Nice, Travis.
Ayn Rand's personal own Harvey Weinstein was none other than famous director Cecil D. DeMille.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's on the list. He's on the
up
roast mortem
there.
list. Yeah.
Yeah, so she said that she randomly bumped into him one day, but let's be real. You don't just bump into someone in
Bumping-
the sense of like, oh, my coffee spilled on your shirt. Let me work in your movies.
Hey, you look like you could be my muse. No, he definitely just threw the tip of his dick around and she caught it.
With something.
They were in a pool hall and all the
Yeah.
pockets were drilled out.
Yeah,
Oh,
so Rand scores some extra work, as like an extra. And then she starts working as a junior screenwriter under Cecil, and I don't know exactly. They didn't write down what company he was with, probably Paramount or MGM or some shit.
I forget. Yeah, I don't think it was Paramount. I think it was MGM because I think
Yeah.
they did the. God, I could be so off the mark on this, but like I think Cecil B. DeMille, like he's best known for the Moses movie,
Right.
and like he was huge. Like if you don't know, he was the original. Like he was the director version of Harvey Weinstein. Like he was
Yeah.
he was the Miramax. So it's a good
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah, you don't just bump into this guy. You know what I mean? Like
You
you're giving him
gotta
a
find
tuggy.
him.
He bumps into you.
Yeah. Now, she wasn't really great at this whole screenwriting thing. I mean, she always wanted to be a writer. That was something that when she went to school, she was like, I want to write and whatever. She also doesn't really know any of the Americanisms, right? So she's writing like a Russian Jewish girl for movies.
I'm intrigued. Go on.
Like, wouldn't it be great if we jumped in our Cadillac and had a good old time at the soda jerks?
Right, very unnatural. Yeah. So, like, look, Ayn Rand, I had to sit you down real quick because I'm reading the script that you submitted, and while it has some good points, you have this section here where a family of 10 men sniff the seat of a high schooler or for 10 minutes.
What is
10
going on?
minutes. I mean, I get it. The script is called 10 Men in 10 Minutes, but that's not really the point of it. You didn't it was something else. Either way, what I'm saying is this is really dirty.
This is what we do in Russia.
Yeah.
This is how you meet a male.
Yeah. Take a whiff and get on our plane. We're Hollywood. We're family fun. We're drinking and driving and family fun all at once. We're not this perverted crap.
Yeah. We don't have the budget for the fourth borscht dinner scene. I'm sorry. We can't get that in. We can't crowbar that in.
But this is America. This is America borscht for everyone.
Could you imagine if she just and then Charlie Chan, he comes in, Charlie Chaplin comes in and he is here like, what's going on? Where's the borscht, mother? And the mother turns around and goes, the borscht is not ready. Go take a seat. And then the next Charlie Chaplin man, because she just that's her only reference. She's just I
love that.
Every man character. I noticed we have 35 characters named Charlie Chaplin in here.
And you wrote lines for all of them.
For each one. They're numbered so as to not confuse them. And it's just the mom telling them that the borscht isn't ready.
So, of course, so she's here. She's not doing she's working. She's working as a screenwriter.
Working woman.
Right.
Good for her.
But she was steps away from eating her, owns her cat's cat food. And speaking of the cat, she owned a cat, cats her entire life. And she smelled like cat. She had that very bad hygiene. Her apartment was always there's cat piss everywhere. All the furniture was clawed. So this cat that she got in LA had pissed its way and scratched its way through the entire apartment to the point where she was evicted and had to find a new place to live.
Great. Imagine what Cecil was thinking. He's probably just oh man, I'm so burnt out on coke I can't smell a goddamn thing, but you look hairy enough to eat.
Well, I'm just saying, this is before sushi hit the scene in LA.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Fish.
Now, like anyone who moves to Los Angeles, it was time for Ayn Rand to pick a lifelong addiction. When in Rome, you got to figure out what you're going to be addicted to.
Right.
If you don't reply in 2 weeks, they wrestle you down to the dirt and ask you, lock in your addiction, motherfucker. You can't keep us in suspense.
Ein's drug of choice was amphetamines. She was a raging speed junkie. Also, on top of that, a heavy smoker.
All right. Well, I don't see any problem with either of those things. You know,
Yeah.
you got to take life by the ass and fuck it.
She's
Oh,
being
yeah.
brave. She's being brave.
Yeah.
But we will hit some contradictions a little later in the episode. But I wanted to put it out there. She's a speed junkie. She's smoking tons of cigarettes. And she used to rock one of those Cruella de Vil long cigarette holders,
Okay.
which at the time was in vogue. But she just continued doing that throughout her entire life. Like her fashion sense like stopped in like the 1920s and 30s.
I've done dumb things. I'm not going to say I am the most savvy fashionista.
I saw you in that fanny pack.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to, you know, I like to keep my pencils in there just in case I need to rewind my tapes.
I use mine when I can't find the belt.
Smart.
So right about
Isn't
this time, she meets another doughy-eyed idiot in L.A., a guy named Frank O'Connor. Now, Frank is one of many of the soy boys in this story. He was one of those out-of-work artist types. He painted. He was a complete pushover when it came to Rand. Everyone was like, I mean, this was at the time, people were like, we know who wears the pants in this situation. It's obviously not this Frankie boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, anyway, the two of them get married, and I don't know if they get married because they love each other. Apparently, there was some gushy shit, but she gets her citizenship the next year in 1931 because she was on like a green card, essentially. Didn't want to go back to Russia. Oh, and interesting enough, this libertarian icon voted for FDR in 1932.
Well, you know, dude, sometimes the party of putting people in concentration camps will actually shift a bit. You know, it's, you know, politically speaking, I mean, you got to think like Abraham Lincoln, he was a Republican. So, you know, sometimes the Democrats did want to enslave people and take away their right to make any money. It's true.
Or wrench them out of depression. But that's a story for another day.
We will fight off record for hours on that. That's not why people are here.
FDR, we're going to roast the shit out of him. He's a cousin fucker.
Yeah, he liked cousins and he hated gold. Or he liked it so much that he said, you can't have it.
Cousin or gold.
All right, Travis, tell me more about Ayn Rand.
So anyway, this Hollywood stuff that Ayn Rand was doing, it's not real art. She's like, dude, I need to do real art. I need to be a writer, an artist. So her and her hubby was like, put down that bottle. Frank, put the bottle down because you're drinking yourself to death because you married me. And we're going to go to New York. Yeah, time to write plays for Broadway.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, if there's anywhere where you want to write a shitty script and get a bunch of people to go, it's the songs that keep me coming, then that's where you go.
There you go.
So in 1932, they packed their bags and all of their cats and headed off to the Big Apple to probably write the prequel to Cats.
Yeah, they pack their cats. I like that.
Now again, she sucked at writing plays because she didn't really speak English that well. So she was like, fuck this. I'm going to write my book, right? She's like,
sure.
We know her as an author. We don't know her as a playwright or a screenwriter. We know her as an author.
Mm-hmm.
So enter the first of 4 books she wrote. She only wrote 4 books. She wrote 4 fictional books. She wrote a few nonfiction books, but 4 big books. The first one is We Are Living, which is basically a slam piece against the Soviet Union and communism. Now, We Are Living got her a little bit of attention. New York has always been liberal. She was like, I'm going to move to New York. This is where all the big capitalists are, right? Because there's such big buildings. And she realized that these guys are kind of liberal here. Like, I want to hang out with the hardcore anti-Soviets.
Oh, she fell for it. She thought the hard asses were conservative in New York, didn't she?
Yeah. But, I mean, there were. It just wasn't like her utopia, right? Like, I feel like hardcore conservatives in New York kind of like scurry in the gutter and then like emerge to they scurry down from their penthouse. They're like, oh.
Year-end bonuses? What?
Yeah. But yeah, so she wanted everyone to know that she was the biggest fangirl of capitalism and that she wanted to make sure everyone in America knew that America is a place where anyone can do anything as long as you put your mind to it.
Do you guys remember Michelle Bachmann?
Oh, man. What was she again?
She was fun. She tried to run for president. I think she was supposed to be a porn star, but she didn't do anything. I don't know. She just seems like that. Look, I could say this all night. There's lots of ladies like that who are just like, I like this. You know, like
Sarah Palin.
So like, all right, I'm not trying to be like a total dickhole here, but when some of these like Sarah Palins and Michelle Bachmans come out, they sound like the kind of girl who loves the Jets. And it's just like, do you even watch football? It's just like, I just like the pageantry of it. It's part of my soul. White and green forever. And it's like, what are the rules of football? What's a first down? They go, I don't know, but it's important.
Capitalism, money.
Right. So like, yeah, I'm sure there's lots of conservative ladies who think that way for their reasons, but like women like that, like the Sarah Palin who's like, I can see Russia and my son sells Oxycontin. She's like, she's stupid enough to just get on that train, which I just don't think is a good place for anyone to be.
Right.
And I think a lot of these ladies are trying to prove a point, and unfortunately, it is just the ladies who do that type.
Well,
because they got tricked. They got tricked by prep rallies when they were younger. It's not their fault. I don't even blame them. Like someone was just like, "This is what we do. We go to the gymnasium 3 times a year, and we cheer on teams that we're not going to even see play their games." Okay, swim
aggressive.
team, yeah,
be aggressive.
Right, exactly. So they're just like have that mindset.
I'm hurt because the fencing team never got any love.
Well, the fencing team is just like, what are they doing? They're playing with a sticks. That's not football about it. And then the girl's like, yeah, that's dumb. But she also doesn't know football either. But she just knows.
Yeah.
It's just going with it. This is what I smell. She's like, I love capitalism. Ayn Rand is like, I love capitalism. I don't even understand it because I keep asking my parents for money. But God damn it, it's the best thing.
Yeah. So she likes this attention that she got from this first book. And to be clear, attention seeking was something we will get into is not part of her tenets of objectivism.
Right.
Okay.
So she decided to write a second work, and this work was The Fountainhead, which came out in 1936. Have you guys ever had to read The Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged for school? I feel like it's on some curriculums.
It must be. I did not.
Travis, I can't really read. I remember doing like the first chapter of the book about the 2 dogs, the fern one, the red fern.
Oh,
Where the red fern grows?
Which is like 100-page book.
A good one.
I did that in senior year because I
must have been
stupid.
Thomas, have you ever had to read and study the Goosebumps?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Realstein is one of the sickest authors out there. The guy, he did
a
one about say cheese and die. Now that's poetry.
I mean, I was more of an Animorphs kind of guy.
No, in all seriousness, everything I was assigned in school, I just didn't do.
Well, okay, so The Fountainhead is like it's basically The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged are her big works that everyone always recites and all this shit.
Sure.
It took her 7 years to finish this colossal piece of shit. Have I read it? No. I read the Spark Notes. I have no fucking reason to read this book. And in between writing this, she also shot out Anthem, which was her second book. This was like a break that she took in between writing Fountainhead. And apparently I hear that one's actually pretty good. It's not so heavy-handed. But Fountainhead. So, Fountainhead is Donald Trump's favorite book. I don't think he read the book, and I don't think he had the attention span to listen to the audiobook.
Wait,
because
he said his favorite book was a Bible on TV.
Yeah, but he's also said his favorite book is
He's got many favorites.
Wow, what a guy. All right, anyway, continue.
So I don't think he had the attention span for this because Ayn Rand was not a big fan of editing anything. That's why the book is 753 pages long.
Oh. So it's not because she had ideas, it's because she had too much mistakes.
The only thing she would have her editor do, and this is like some weird special thing going on here, is if any of the words rhymed in a paragraph, she'd have them replace it.
Stop. Explain that. What do you mean, like rhyme in stanza? Or like...
apparently, she just didn't want any of her sentences to rhyme in the paragraph.
Okay, so ending with rhyming
Yeah, I
words.
think that was it.
So a sentence could end with like, cat, and then the next sentence could start with bat. It's not like an entire embargo. Like none of these words in the like paragraph can like sound like another.
I'm not too certain, but that's
can you
what I read
imagine?
was
Can
like.
you imagine in an opposite world of that? Like Shel Silverstein's like, I'm a poet, but I'm not really good at it. So look, if there's something that should rhyme, maybe you can make it rhyme for me.
Yeah. I'm a poet and I'm aware of it.
What rhymes with juice? I don't know. I'll just make the editor do it.
Caboose.
That is very silly. Like I have written 700-page novels before too, but
Those were good.
they're diarrhea.
Yeah, no, garbage. You can't write anything that's over 700 pages. They call it good.
Yeah, I don't believe. I don't know. I've never written. I don't even know the longest book I've ever read, but it doesn't matter. I'm just showing you guys how smart I am. I read so many books.
So okay,
and I've
so
avoided.
I'll give you a little summary of the book. So it's about this guy named Howard Rourke, who is he's a really good architect, but actually he's a really shitty architect because he refuses to build anything that his clients ask because it's not his vision.
Oh.
Right. He's like, I'm the best architect, but I won't work because it goes against my morals.
Oh, so he's a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Okay.
So Rourke is Ayn Rand's ideal man. Basically, she ripped off Nietzsche with the Übermensch, right? Like, this is the ideal person.
Good.
And of course, like a very similar Ava Braun's boyfriend, European, dark-haired, Jewish narcissist, Rand's perfect man and woman was always blonde hair, blue-eyed, tall, and Scandinavian.
Okay.
I don't know why they're into that, but
Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers.
It's good.
yeah. Oh, but skinny though. Brock is still a little too.
He's very top heavy. He doesn't do enough leg day, and he does way too much of that other stuff. Very fun show. I've been rewatching that. Good comedy.
So our hero Rourke gets expelled from architect school for refusing to do an assignment that goes against his morals, and he gets a job at a quarry where he rapes a woman named Dominique. Yes, our hero rapes a woman. But here's the thing, though. Dominique was like, I kind of like it.
Oh.
A good old case of the she was asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. So our hero's like, it's all right that I raped her because she said she liked it later, after she cried.
Well, let's
This
not
is like-
weigh on this at all.
Well, I'm just saying this book was like the biggest thing in the 40s. There was a movie about this. This is like influenced people's lives, this book. And our hero is raping a person. So anyway, this jerk off Rourke, he can't hold a job because the projects don't fit his vision. And he has this rival, right? And the rival is actually a guy that makes money because he just like does the work within the budget and like.
So he's a
builds
capitalist.
He does what
Yeah.
is asked
He's a
of him.
capitalist. Yeah, he gets a job and he does it and then moves to the next one.
Right. So he's like he runs into this issue where he can't build something because like he's not good enough. So he has to ask Rourke to build the building. Oh, and this whole time the chick that got raped, Dominique, is just banging everyone. Whatever. It's a very confusing plot because it's
This is
terribly
weird.
written.
So yeah, in the words of Jesse Lee Peterson, she was a slut.
Yeah, he was a slut. So Rourke's rival is like, Rourke, you need to help me. And so Rourke helps build this building, and it gets away from him, right? So somebody like takes over, and it ruins his vision of the building. So he decides to blow up the building with dynamite and gets arrested.
Oh.
And basically the book ends with him Rourke gets out of jail and he builds the best building ever, and he gets Dominique to leave her husband and be with him, her rapist.
I mean, isn't this like what the Middle East is built on?
If it's really confusing and stupid, it's because it's a 750-page book that's terribly written.
I thought you were going to say if it's confusing and stupid, it's because it is in fact confusing and
Yes.
stupid.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I'm not going to read it, probably because I respect my time. Maybe I'll read
brave.
one of her shorter books.
You're so brave.
Read Anthem.
I'm
apparently, like I
extremely
said, that
brave.
one's okay.
I'm very brave. I'm probably the bravest guy on the show. I mean, Mike is actually braver than me because he doesn't even come. But I'm second bravest. Shoddy.
Mike
So
is a no
somehow
cum boy.
this rambling behemoth of a book, like I said, explodes in post-war America because, I don't know, people like the idea of building big buildings and raping, I guess. That's just the mentality of America.
Could you imagine like reading this book? Like your wife is over there. She's like, you know, back in post-war America, it's like, this is the bedroom. It's white sheets, 2 twin beds. You're separated by a nightstand, you know.
Oh, no.
And you're reading this book, and your wife's, she's yarning it up. She's making a scarf that's very...
Making a meatloaf scarf.
Right,
Yeah,
meatloaf
I like
scarf with you know, Heinz tomato catsup. And you read this and you go, hey, honey, what would you think if I blew up a building and raped you? And your wife goes, well, I don't think that would be very nice, Henry. I don't think that would be a good idea at all. You go, well, I don't really think it is either, but maybe there's something here to it. You know, I think we should examine this more. And then he goes and beats the shit out of her. That's what post-war America is like, from what you've just told me.
Well, yeah, so we've roasted Tom. You had have a running series that I think is still continuing, right? The Goof Troop Riders.
Yeah,
right?
they're
the Beatniks.
One of them's coming back. I'll tell you which is next.
Okay,
So
Sexy.
so we've got the Beatniks, right? This like very liberal, like free flowing thought thing.
Big on pedophiles, just like flowers and paper wasting, really future people.
So Rand, after
Future.
when she blows up, and like after writing this Fountainhead, she becomes the superstar of like the alt-right young square people. So, like the complete like college kids, so like beatniks, but they're like the college bros that like they don't play football, but they hang around the football team and they talk about how much pussy they get, but like they don't.
The guys
those
with
type of
Hawaiian
guys.
shirts.
Yeah.
The
So,
guy,
yeah,
the ones who say that I'm one of the good Jews. One of those guys.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Right.
So she starts to build this like cult following of like young people in the 40s and 50s. One of her biggest fans, I mean, let's talk about the characters of the people. Alan Greenspan, the man that crashed the American economy
Again and again and again.
again and again and again, was one of the young like 20-somethings that used to hang around Ayn Rand.
Great. I love it.
Yeah.
This
I just like the concept of ruining something more than once. You know what I mean? It's just like you fuck it up once, it's kind of ruined.
Housing
So,
bubble?
It's miraculous. You can do that again and again.
It's funny that in Hollywood, if you're a boom operator, you fuck up a shot once and you're gone. But you fuck up an entire economy, it's just like, well, that was pretty rough, I guess.
Mulligan? Can a brother get a mulligan?
Dude, he's still a genius, but like, who knew the houses had bubbles on them?
I don't see bubbles in my house. Do
Yeah.
you? It's tricky.
How was he supposed to know that?
Bubbles belong in trailer parks. Oh,
So-
see what I did? Oh.
I like that, actually.
So let's talk about the leader of this Ayn Rand fan club, a psychology undergrad named Nathan Blumenthal, who would change his name just like his hero, Ayn Rand, to Nathaniel Brandon, because why not?
Well,
Gotta
he's
get rid of
got
those Jewish
Blumenthal.
last names.
Yeah, you
No,
gotta
like
get rid of the
Jewish
Jew last name. We can't have that. Can't
Tom,
be a
can you explain why people don't like Jew last names?
Well, where do I start, Cody? I mean, I
At
can't
the beginning of time.
I can't just rip this entire podcast out from its roots. But look, the Jews they have tails. They're
Oh,
evil
my
people.
God.
Tom, you never showed me your tail.
Because I only have a half.
Tom has,
My
Tom
tail
has
is
never showed you
circumcised.
his half tail. Tom has never showed you his half tail.
Yeah, my half tail. No, guys. There's not. We can't go into this. Historically, the Jews have gotten a lot of shit on them, and also they happen to be the richest people out there. I don't know, Cody. I don't know where to start with that. It's really
That's fair.
easy. It's really easy to conspire against them because they're always outnumbered.
Right.
And for
So-
some reason,
well-
they're like, they're a group of people. They're fairly intelligent. However you want to say it. I'm not just saying that because I am one, but like, why is comedy 90% Jewish people and there's only 0.2% of the population? Maybe they're just funny. That's it. Maybe there's
they're
not a
good
conspiracy.
ticklers.
That's all I'm saying. There's not a conspiracy. We like to think there is. It's an easy way
Well,
to go.
let me tell you, this guy Nathaniel Brandon was not one of the funny Jewish guys. He was very boring.
Let me tell you something. Most Jews
Wow.
aren't funny. Most of them aren't. The ones that come through, they're extremely funny.
They
So,
shine.
Nathaniel sent a letter to Rand, writing, and he wrote how much he loved the Fountainhead. He's like, "Oh, this is so good. I love it." And he decided to move him and his girlfriend Barbara Wyman from Toronto to L.A. because Rand had moved back to L.A. in the late 40s.
Good for her.
Now Rand invited Nathaniel and Barbara over, and Rand right away was like, "This is my ideal man. This guy, Nathaniel. This is who I was writing about. He's going to be my intellectual heir."
Great.
So it's like
Rand,
a Mike
Rand never
character.
had kids, so
Yeah, so this character's kind of like Mike, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the intellectual error of certain retardation.
Uh-huh.
So Rand like tickled his fucking ball sack, Brendan's ball sack. He's like, "Guess
Ooh.
what? I'm writing a fucking new novel, her magnum opus." Atlas shrugged.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I actually first heard of, and this is a little side tangent, but I actually heard of Atlas Shrugged from playing BioShock. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, maybe Bethesda happens to be somewhat anti-Semitic. I don't know for that for sure, but there's a certain quality
The
to
original?
Bethesda.
Yeah, the original is basically they took objectivism and they made it into like a weird sci-fi thing.
There's a character named Atlas, isn't there? Yeah.
Yep, yeah. It's if you play that game, it's
Fuck me.
Yeah, if you play that game, it's all based about Ayn Rand and like Randian thoughts and yeah.
Fuck
like
me. I
the
got
slave-
introduced. Yeah, I got
the slave
introduced to that.
chooses, the man the
Obeys,
slave
yeah.
obeys, and the man chooses. What was
Choose
he?
it. Yeah. I was way young and didn't know anything about Ayn Rand. I want to take a look at that after this show.
Yeah. So Atlas Shrugged was her main book, and she's like, "Yo, Brandon, I'm gonna write a new book. It's gonna be called Atlas Shrugged." But she's like, before I do that, we need to lay out my complete philosophy. Because in this novel, I will tell you everything there is to my philosophy about life. But we should, discuss it. So Rand and Nathaniel, they start going to work. They're smoking lots of cigarettes, doing speed, talking philosophy until, the wee hours of the night.
Speed and philosophy cannot be a good mix. That's not the right drug for philosophy.
No, it's
Right,
not. I mean, it's a great drug for listening to Venetian snares or
Most everything else.
Yeah, a
Just
lot of
not
other
philosophy.
things. Chopping down a tree. That's
Road trip
great.
to New Mexico.
Hmm.
Yeah, you want to have a good time, do some speed. But you're just sitting down, fucking smoking cigarettes and talking philosophy. I don't know.
That's not a matchup.
Have you guys ever watched people on drugs just talk over each other until there's a screaming match? It's one of the most fun things I've seen.
I mean, my family phone calls don't usually last that long, but I can see what you're saying.
Fair enough.
So, and they were bringing more others into this fold, into the conversation, right? So Alan Greenspan, I mentioned, whole bunch of 20-something conservative nerds.
Right.
Worst. And they developed her philosophy. Well, she did. She obviously took all the credit. They developed her philosophy, objectivism.
That sounds like it has a fucking capital O, and I hate it.
It does.
God damn it!
So, first off, let's talk about the name, objectivism. So these uncreative pencil necks got together, and they're writing all these theories down. And Ayn Rand is like, I want to name it existentialism. We got to name it existentialism.
Oh, boy.
And then some poor sucker had to raise their hand and be like, Mrs. Rand, this is actually already a philosophy. A bunch of guys in France, Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, they're already coming up with that.
Right. I want to buy whoever said that lunch. You know what I mean? That's an important guy in history.
And hold on.
I want to get him a panini. Is what I'm saying.
Let me change how you feel about that very quickly.
Sure.
Had this idiot not gone, hey, you dumb hairy bitch, that's already a philosophy. She would have gone full steam with it. And lost all credibility, which we, in theory, would have liked her to have done.
So you're saying she would have gotten burnt out reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, she would have lost her credibility going, I got this new thing. It's called existentialism. And everyone's just like, okay, you stupid dumb dyke.
So much like the name, which she tried to steal from an already existing philosophy, most of the tenets of objectivism have also been stolen from other philosophies. Basically, objectivism is all about laissez-faire capitalism, but with Aristotle's philosophy applied to it. So Aristotle was like, an A is an A, meaning it is what it is. You see something,
Right.
That's what it is.
That's almost absurd in mixing such antiquated and new age thinking. You know what I mean? That's like if you ran into a neurologist that still studied the four humors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's such a bad juxtapose. I hate that word. Juxtapose. Yeah, all right. We'll
Yeah. So objectivism is all about seeing the world through, in air quotes, reason. So much like a boomer on a QAnon board, you see something, and that's what it is.
Obviously.
Gotta be. That's what I see it. There's no such thing as illusions. Your eyes cannot trick you in any way. They're the gateway to your world.
I have bad news for some people.
So Rand got a little bit tricky here, and she was like, I think, therefore I am. How about try I am, therefore I think?
Oh, fuck. She did it.
Whoa.
I can buy that to a little bit. You know, like I don't see the air. I know it's there, but someone's told me.
Yeah, but okay, so here, I'm going to blow a hole. I'm going to blow a hole in that for you. I watched this entire lecture from Leonard Peikoff, who was the leader of the Ayn Rand Institute during the 80s and the 90s. And he was talking to a bunch of college students that were very like early 90s dressed and hilarious. But one of them asked, what about a mirage? You see, like if you're in the desert and you see a mirage and it looks like a question. It looks like a city in the distance.
Great
like,
question.
That's not real. And he responded by saying, well, yeah, the city's there. That's just a reflection off the sand. That's not how mirages work.
No.
Well,
I don't know what to do from here.
I don't want to do the show anymore.
Like at all.
No.
Not just this episode, roast mortem in general.
Yeah, no,
I don't.
I hate when people bring sand into the argument. I'm disgusted because I have seen things that I know are not real.
Like the kiwi.
And we have to take a tangent for that now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I saw a kiwi. That's all I got.
You thought you saw a kiwi.
Guys, you don't have my eyeballs.
Yeah, so basically Rand would be like, the fucking kiwi's there
Yes,
then.
I'm the laughing stock of my friend group because I got
talking about
high
the
with a
fruit.
guy who killed himself, and I saw a kiwi walk in front of our car. And the kiwi was
Not the
a
fruit.
kiwi.
Not the fruit.
Not the fruit. The New Zealand indigenous animal.
On Long Island.
Where? What? Yeah. Okay. Is that what?
North Shore, Long Island, Park Avenue area, North Park Avenue, close to Pulaski Road. I saw a kiwi.
After taking mind-altering substances, you saw a kiwi
No,
walking.
only half of a weed. I was smoking a joint at the
Yeah,
time. This
Tom-
is back when I was younger.
Yeah.
And look, I think I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger. One of them is not claiming to see a kiwi. Rather, I saw a kiwi, and you know what? That's just how I am. Maybe that's why I am half lesbian and half libertarian. I don't know.
It's a combo.
So okay, so just to give you this guy Leonard, who I watched his lecture with the whole Mirage thing, he had spent like thousands and thousands of hours with Ayn Rand. So it wasn't just like somebody interpreting like her works. Like this was somebody that like had these in-depth, like he was there with Greenspan and Nathaniel Branden. Like he was one of the people that developed this idea.
Okay.
So, yes, whatever you see is real. Doesn't fucking matter if science tells you not.
I can't that's literally like the cornerstone of science is like everything is not as it seems. That's
Right.
It's the antithesis of fundamental thought in my humble opinion.
Well, you sound extremely eloquent when I'm trying to tell you guys I see a kiwi. I mean it.
Yeah.
It's just hard to believe, my friend.
It's funny because nowadays you see a lot of Christian conservatives, like I mentioned, like Ted Cruz and Paul Ryan quoting Rand. But she was, and her objectivism are outspoken atheists because you can't see God. You can't see superstition, anything magic. You can't see it.
You know what? You know what Ted Cruz can see? He could see the state that he's supposed to be in when it's freezing.
Yeah, when he's
But
in
he went out for his
Cancun.
Cancun vacation. You could see that as he's passing by.
I
Going,
like that. Yeah.
Better luck next year. I hope this whole winter thing is temporary.
Do you remember that time Ted Cruz cooked bacon by wrapping it around his AR muzzle?
Was that a thing?
That's a
Really?
thing. That actually happened. Ted Cruz cooked bacon by wrapping like raw bacon around his AR muzzle and then emptying a magazine downrange.
That's
I mean,
pretty
I could-
hilarious.
And he ate it. He ate it afterwards.
Oh, all right.
Ted Cruz, it'd be really funny to find out, like, once people start digging that he's actually not, like, it would be funny if a birther movement happened on him and we found out he was Chinese.
Well,
that
Canadian.
would be really funny. What's that?
He's Canadian.
No, but it'd be funny if he was Chinese. I know, but it'd be funny if he's Chinese. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that one Chinese province of Canada.
Yeah, the Chinese Canada.
It's a good prefecture.
Uh-huh.
So part of this thing, if your eyes were the gateway to your world and what's giving you reason, Rand made it clear to her followers that they should not use drugs because that obstructs your vision.
That's boring.
Unless if you're taking speed, because that's not a drug.
Well, speed what's so amazing about speed and why I think more people should try it is that they get more day out of their day. It serves as both the coffee and the alarm clock.
I've had a conversation with my coffee on said uppers, right? And my coffee was talking back to me because
what accent did it have?
And you were able to hear and i.e. see it.
Yeah, so it's real. The
real
coffee
accent.
is real.
Right. So do speed. Do speed. Talk about welfare and have a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So another big tenet of objectivism is that you have to act true to yourself, right? Like I mentioned, our boy
boring.
Rourke, who was supposedly a great architect, but didn't work because it went against his morals.
Right.
Like you have to be true to yourself, and the only way to do this is through enlightened culture and art. Now you say, what is that? And it's basically just whatever Rand liked. So really boring operas, shitty soaps on TV, and very boring music.
Good.
If she caught you liking anything else, something like fantasy, comedy, she would berate you.
Wow.
And
that's not yourself.
Yeah, and claim that you're immoral and ostracize you from the objectivist movement.
This is like fucking middle school PE teacher mentality. Like, what I like is objectively right.
Well, yeah.
Do suicides now, bitch.
I do find it very funny that, like, the people who are following her, like, yes, we're getting political this episode. The people who follow her are the types who say, yeah, pull yourself up from your bootstraps, go to work, become a manager of a store, and and then you've done the American dream, and people don't have those opportunities. And guess what? Some of those people are just fat, lazy idiots. Not all of them. Some of them are really trying. But for the sake of argument, when it comes to being yourself, some people are just fat, lazy idiots.
Yeah, but Tom, all of us, we work in a creative field.
Yes.
What creative artists, I hate to call myself an artist, but what person that works in the creative field doesn't sacrifice their artistic ability for the client? Like, that's how the world works.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So when you say something like be yourself, and then, maybe in an alternate universe, it's like, okay, I'll be myself. I want to sit here on my stupid ass and get fucked and fuck and have kids and not really care. Like, there are people like that.
I don't want to cut fucking makeup tutorials. I want to cut big cream pie videos.
Oh my God.
Well, you're just north of LA. You could really shoot down there and start cutting creams like nobody's business.
Wait, he's so far away from LA.
But he's just north.
Okay.
Yeah. So another big tenet about objectivism. So right now we're going into the objectivism, and we'll cut back to Rand in a little bit. But another big thing is that everything should be done for yourself.
Right.
Rand repeated this over and over again, that altruism or charity was immoral. You should not give anything to charity unless it benefits you. You should not do anything out of kindness because it's all about you. Don't hold the door for people. Don't do anything. It's all about you.
See,
I kind of believe this one.
It's the gray area that it's just like, that works, but would we be okay with a society where everyone practices that?
Well, the thing is I think that this is almost like a follow-up to, like I said, the Beat Generation or the Ben Spock episode, because remember in the Ben Spock episode, all of his baby boomers turned on him in the 70s and 80s when Rand got popular, and it was all about me, 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 me. I don't care about anyone else.
Right. It's a recipe for disaster when you give people freedom and then they realize oh, there's people in my way. There's other people online. Why can't I double park?
Being a good human is important, but
is
money
it though?
Is it money though?
Look,
but money though.
I know this might sound away, but I understand this point more than the Kiwis. You know, like what is even being like? Just take care of yourself the best. You take care of yourself the best. You close the door for everyone, because if they can't get into the 7-Eleven themselves, it's good. You can have the pick of the litter, per se.
The taquitos.
They're exactly. They're not going to pick up that almond joy that you were going to get on your lap back from the coffee station.
The last fucking one.
Yeah. So maybe I'm an advocate for that idea. So let's continue before I sound like more of an idiot.
Well,
in true cult style, and this was also because she abandoned her family in Russia, she said, your family is not important. You need to stick with your friends that follow the tenets of objectivism.
This is interesting. You know, because like there's a whole thing of it, like you can't pick your family, so don't even like bother thinking of that. But what you can pick now is your friends and acquaintances
And your OnlyFans account.
Oh,
This is true. This is also true.
Those are your friends that show their titties.
Yeah.
And
You pay
bad.
them.
Yeah,
Friends.
friends.
I don't see any drawbacks from this.
No, I love my friends.
But Cody, what were you saying?
I can't remember. Titties came in. And
Titties.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where it's just like it sounds alluring on paper, but once you have an entire society of people that are self-serving, it might get messy if those self-serving drives conflict with each other.
Well, see, I think you guys are my family. Like, you're my friends, but like you're the closest things I've had to brothers.
I like you guys.
But like,
my
here's
dude,
the thing,
my family.
my dude.
But here's the thing, though, is like I'm not being like I like you because you follow this one philosophy, and if you're outed out of this club, I can't be your friend anymore.
Right.
Friendship is transcendental over philosophy, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like philosophies and stuff. I mean, like look at the people Joe Rogan has on the show. They don't. He doesn't get in MMA fights with guys like Lex Friedman because he says a robot thing. Like, no. In all seriousness, like, yeah, you know, when you grow up, you're like, maybe they think that way, and as long as they don't come murder me, it's fine.
Right. Well, that's one of the we haven't done too many cult figures. I mean, I think we should, but. One of the first things they tell you, like, if you're going to, like, Cult 101.
We'll get Mike to do it.
Cult 101, get rid of your family, like, your friends.
Yeah, that's the big first red flag of cult if they try shit talking your family without knowing them.
Tim and Eric's zone theory. Abandon your family.
Is my Bible.
Also, basically, another big tenet was that men were obviously superior over women. Of course, there were exceptions like Ayn Rand herself. And that a woman should always fuck whoever was the most moral, meaning had the most money.
Oh,
so gold dig your way to the top.
Gotcha. I was about to say, is Ayn Rand literally combating the stereotype of nice guys finish last? Oh wait, no, moral means. Like bank account, like potential.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Travis, my world was crumbling. Thank you for shedding light.
Yeah. And of course, there's laissez-faire capitalism. For those of you that don't know laissez-faire, it just means free form capitalism.
I mean,
whatever the fuck you want to do.
Well,
stay in your
let's be very clear about something. That has never existed in the United States.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
There are people who fetishize it who are on the right side of things. There are people who demonize it who are on the left side of things. There's always been like corporate welfare preventing that from actually being a thing globally. So we don't know if that actually works, to be fair.
Well, okay. So
laissez-faire.
This is laissez-faire. This is, I think, the most flawed thing here.
Sure.
Because Rand believed that objectivism and this laissez-faire and her philosophy would lead to a capitalist utopia. Like I said, much like the communist utopia.
Real quick for people that don't know what laissez-faire is, Travis.
Oh, it just means like no rules capitalism. The government, and I was just gonna say like, so she thought that if the government was stripped just to the military and the court system, everyone would be able to live in a carefree society. People would not need to worry about healthcare or anything, because if there was no labor laws, if there was no one telling you what you couldn't do, the richest of the rich would certainly give back to the community in order to progress science.
Why wouldn't
and
they?
Society.
Why wouldn't they?
It's been fantastic. I mean, every time I'm looking for progress and making sure that, like, I imagine myself being in Mitt Romney's skin, going, we could use another Staples across from the Staples I just put up. Let's go burn that building down and build a Staples there.
Fuck Office Max.
What? It used to be an apartment building?
Not anymore.
No, it's a Staples now.
So she argued, like you said, Tom, America had never, well, you said laissez-faire capitalism, but she argued that America had never been capitalists. It had always been a mixed economy.
It's...
I guess.
You know what, man? Like, no jokes here. There has been a lot of weird interference. Like, obviously, our government hates us and wants us dead. And they've used that legislation to give out, like I said before, corporate welfares and just making sure certain companies stay afloat. And I don't think laissez-faire exactly would work, per se.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not in the Ayn Rand boat with the capitalism thing. I think that capitalism can be very good, but
it needs a guiding hand.
We've botched it a lot. Like a lot of people complain about Medicare and they don't realize that it's illegal to start an insurance company for healthcare purposes.
Well, see, I think what we have going on right now is corporate socialism.
Yeah,
the banks fail. We'll help you bail you out.
Yeah.
They'll help any company out. They won't help people out.
Yeah,
companies
are
people. What
sure.
Are you talking
about?
Right.
And I got, guys, I don't want to get too preachy on this stuff because you're right. Like, I agree with you. Obviously, there's a lot of problems here. And like I said, government wants you dead. They want to fuck you in your mouth until you shit out all the gold you're worth. Yeah. That's what the government is. That's the role of them. So, fine.
Government trying to get gold out of me is like trying to get blood from a stone. So I just better find an infinite like supply of lube somewhere, I guess.
Cody,
pretty much your entire life needs lube. That's all what I'm saying.
Cody, if we grind you down, we're gonna make some premium fucking like Kona coffee. I'm just saying, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're gonna keep an entire DMV happy for an afternoon with your coffee.
It's good.
So she argued that America had never been capitalist. It had always been a mixed economy. The second we strip away all collectivism, she didn't really use the term communism. She used it collectivism.
Oh.
We would have a utopia.
Really?
And now I'm reading this, and I'm like, America had, I think, the closest thing to laissez-faire capitalism in the 19th century.
Yeah, definitely.
This was a time when we had slavery. You could own people. You had child labor, for fuck's sake. You could just be like, oh, kid, you go put your hand in that gear. Like, that was the closest thing where businessmen, they didn't have to agree to anything. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted. That's pretty much laissez-faire capitalism. Right. I think the only thing we had in the 19th century was like military pensions.
Yeah.
Like this is a little bit of a tangent, but in my heart of hearts, I search for like what's the most American thing of like the 1930s? Like what's the most American commodity at the 1930s? And like a bunch of research just points to the Thompson machine gun. It is the most American thing from the 1930s. And if you actually look up like how an American citizen could purchase the Thompson machine gun, you get a magazine, you clip out the coupon,
the Sears,
you clip out the Sears coupon.
Yeah,
you put your name on it. You send like I think it was like $200 out, and literally the Thompson machine gun shows up on your doorstep without a signature, ammunition included.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure it said Thompson machine gun on the fucking crate.
But Cody, is that really even a bad thing?
It's not. I'm just attesting to the laissez-faire, non-regulatory state of America during this era.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's
Fair
bad.
enough.
It's just this is what you could do because there weren't regulatory laws. You could fucking Jeff Bezos a submachine gun to your doorstep.
And look what keeps happening. We keep getting regulation laws, and we're just stuck inside our houses now. And I'm not even talking.
Stocks are illegal.
Yeah, all the it's like, yes, we need some regulation stuff. Maybe not all. That's
Well, right,
I don't
so-
know. I don't. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now because I don't care. I don't know what to think.
Well, I'm just saying. So Ayn Rand was all about no regulation, and she, like I said, it was like trickle down, right? So if the richest of the rich were making money, obviously everyone's going to profit.
Of
Now,
course.
you're telling me
Why not?
you're telling
Why
me
not?
people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk who fucking treat their employees like cattle don't work. Okay, but anyway,
Jesus.
so I actually found I was like really stumped by this because I was like really pissed. I was like, we have had laissez-faire capitalism in the 19th century with child labor. And I actually found an interview with her, and somebody asked her this question. She's like, the interviewer was like, what about child labor? That existed. Like, that's pretty laissez-faire. And Ayn Rand's response was that, well, if they weren't working, they'd be dead.
Okay,
Is that
that's
what they call
interesting.
public schooling?
I've
Real
actually,
brainy.
in my lifetime, I've never met a child who was alive and also working at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a lose.
And
You know what the
before
youngest
that,
age you can work is in New
and
York?
before that, they'd be working on a farm for
Yeah,
their
that's true, too.
family.
Yeah, they'd be. Yeah.
So it don't make any
hey,
sense.
Ayn Rand. Maybe that doesn't make sense.
Mm.
Right. So I
Hmm.
agree with you, Tom. I think that there are certain aspects of libertarianism that's appealing. I think the government wants to fuck you in the mouth, get all the gold out of your anus. But Ayn Rand was not a libertarian. She was an objectivist. It was completely different. And all the
Right.
crazy philosophy that entailed. You either agreed with Ayn Rand or you were immoral. She would often hold debates where she screened her audience and panel. And whenever someone asked a serious question that she didn't agree with, she said, I'm not doing it. It's immoral for me to answer your question and accuse you of being a collectivist.
Wow, that's
Oh my God.
that's something else.
Ayn Rand was one of also the first people to start throwing around the "you're literally Hitler" thing. She called Kennedy a fascist and said he was literally Hitler.
My God, yeah, you see the way he killed 6,000 of his own brain cells like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
he
gassed him.
probably lost about 6,000 brain cells coming in Marilyn Monroe. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, he definitely
Or, you
lost
know-
those terabytes. You know,
And,
Yeah.
we're in that one car ride, he definitely lost some brain cells.
that's what I was talking about.
Oh,
He
okay.
lost all those. He killed brain cells. You know, that's what I was saying. Maybe
My mind was
Yeah.
brain cells blown in amazing sex with.
I was just thinking of a terrible event.
Both are hilarious jokes
That
that are macabre.
Sometimes Dallas, Texas, is the butt end of a joke.
The first thing, it's funny because the way she ran her objectivist cult, and she hated that word, was very fascist. And she also hated being called a fascist. But what fascism is a group of people that, they all follow the same moral code and they work in unison for their leader. And that's exactly what she was. Everyone listened to her. And there was a group of objectivists listening to her. She was the ultimate person, Like I said, you couldn't. Oh, dude, have you seen Family Guy? So funny. And she's like,
You see
you're
Peter Griffin
immoral.
fight that chicken?
You're immoral. You need to watch PBS, but not by the government PBS.
Good metaphor. Thank you, Travis.
All right, so let's get back to more of her life. That was objectivism, kind of. I'm glad we had that spitball of kind of what it was. But back to her life. So remember that guy Nathaniel Brandon, her prodigy, right?
Mhm.
Brandon marries his girlfriend Barbara, even though he couldn't get it up, which was something that he talked to Rand about.
Okay.
And Barbara and Nathaniel moved to New York. So Rand was like, drags Frank, who's like halfway in the bottle, her husband. Like, we're going back to New York again. So I want to be around Brandon. He's my prodigy. So Brandon co-founds the Objectivist Publishing Organization with Rand. And he starts to set her up with doing speech tours at colleges. And they're always like sold out, like tons of fucking nerdy pencil neck boys showing up. And her inner objectivist circle starts to grow. So like these Alan Greenspans and nerds discussing her fascist objectivist theory. And one of the things Rand does that's super culty is she makes it mandatory that everyone in this inner circle in New York had to take therapy from Nathaniel Brandon.
Well, that's a good way to ensure an income. Did they have to buy his therapy beret?
Well, he also did not finish psychology school, so he wasn't even licensed to be a therapist.
Laissez-faire. You know, if I could listen to you, then you could pay me to do it.
Can we have Roast Mortem branded therapy berets?
Yes, please.
The therapy beret. Come on in. Sit on the couch. On. The couch might be made of a pillow. It might be in a crack den, but you can talk to me. I have ears.
With this beret.
I have the proof. I listened to a podcast run by 3 drunks. and
sometimes 4. Sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4. He's missing a tooth, but he's somehow the most reliable in not showing up.
It's weird.
So they'd all have these therapy sessions where they said, you know, when you go to a therapist, you're like, you could say anything to them and they're legally not supposed to tell anyone.
Yeah, but also he doesn't have a license. So
he doesn't have a license.
Oh, no.
So Brendan would take any information and hand it off to Rand and anyone that was dissenting on their cause of objectivism. And Rand would release sensitive material to the group to out people.
Right. It was just penis size, mostly.
Yeah, mainly penis size.
Ayn Rand's like, you have to have an 8-inch penis to be a real American like me. And everyone's like, well, that's ridiculous.
Oh, and of course, she was part of the U.S. defense witness for the Red Scare. The testimony given from Roy Cohn, a person we roasted, and McCarthy alongside Walt Disney.
Right.
And she helped convict the Hollywood 10 blacklist thing. She was there. And around this time, she started to wear her signature $ brooch. Very gaudy. It's a little $ on her
Interesting.
collar. And she was like, dude, I have to wear this because this is a symbol of freedom.
$. Cash rules everything around me. As the cream would say. Look, I'm fine with it. I really am.
So Rand works 10 years on her magnum opus, The Atlas Shrugged, and it was originally released in 1957.
Really? A decade for that?
Yes. At this point, there was a lot of publishers that wanted to publish it, but Rand was a tough one. Like I said, she refused to edit anything in her book. And the book was a whopping 1,168 pages long.
Look, Miss Rand, look, we'd love to put out your book, but there's several pages that concern us. One of them is just a shopping list. It's just milk and eggs and all this crap. Oregano. Who gets oregano in the 1940s? We're not Italy. It's cheese country. Look, we're hoping we'd be able to cut a few of these things. Maybe your manifesto, maybe your boyfriend's phone number.
Well, just to give you a reference, Tom, there is a 60-page long speech from her hero describing objectivism.
No.
You're reading just somebody talking.
That's bad writing.
Pages.
That's bad writing.
Bad writing.
Because that's like listening to us all day.
Yeah, and just the fact that she thinks she's too good for what is, in essence, an intrinsic part of the publishing process.
Yeah.
She has her head up her ass if she's just like, I don't need editing.
Well,
that would be like if, you hired a surgeon that's like, I don't need to make an incision.
Right. So
like,
she went to Random House, Cody. She went to Random House and they're like, we'll publish this for you, but you need to cut some shit, Rand. Like, it's too long. And she goes, would you cut the Bible? Which is really dumb because the Bible has been revised.
Bible's cut
tons
to
and
shit.
tons and tons of times.
Yeah, many times. More. It's been cut more than it's not been cut. Let's put it that way.
The Bible is literally a fishing net somebody cut into a bathrobe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just I don't look at it as anything other than a multi-sourced patchwork or pastiche.
Right. So
Listen,
speaking
of course, do you want to edit my very important book and my speech that's 60 pages? Would you get onion rings?
I like onion rings.
With Whoppers?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So eventually she does find someone to publish this fucking shitty book.
Oh, she finds an idiot.
Yeah. And the thing about, I mentioned the Bible, the thing about Rand is that a lot of people that follow are these objectivists and also people today that Ayn Rand, will quote Atlas Shrugged much like the Bible. They'll have like recite lines and say the page number and the paragraph, which
Like
is
it's some kind of authority and not some like refugee, like Eastern European, like Jewish, like author that like was not naturalized with American ideals, but rather introduced with them. It's like Bane.
Guys,
he was just like, I was born in the darkness.
Can we all get on the same page here? Reciting something is dumb.
Yes, very dumb.
Like, just have a conversation. Maybe try to summarize your own thoughts.
Remixing something. That's where the genius comes from.
I'm very unsmart sometimes, but I try.
That was one of the big things that she was actually impressed by, that guy, Nathaniel Branden. He showed up to her house in L.A. and could just recite Fountainhead from like front to tail, just like read it.
Oh, so he's an autistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
So basically, Atlas Shrugged, I'll give you a very brief summary of it. It's basically if all of the businessmen and intellectuals went on strike. So it's like reverse, oh my God, the workers can't go on strike. What if all the fucking business owners go on strike?
Right.
So she refers to everyone that isn't loaded as second-handers, basically human cattle that are just mooching the system. John Galt, the hero of the book, basically advocates towards a world genocide while the rich people watch the regular people of the world starve while they eat lobster dinners in a mountain silo.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Because why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not? This is a lot of people.
There's lobsters in mountains, right?
Mark Cuban, dude, this favorite book. Mark Rubin, what's his name? Mark
Cuban.
Mark Rubin Cuban.
You keep confusing his last name with sandwiches. It's on.
This is his favorite book. All right. For the most part, Atlas Shrugged was panned at the time.
Really?
Except for rich people and objectivists.
Wow.
Papers called called the book a howl from a harpy wielding a battering ram.
I like this.
She's a whore ready to destroy your house with the tools to do it.
Her ideas were compared to the extermination of Jews, as she showed no compassion for human life, as in the book, they just let everyone starve to death.
Wow.
The New Yorker mockingly said that the Globe's 2 billion incompetents, having starved to death, will finally know better than to fool around with businessmen.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Also, surprisingly, Rand's vision was very reminiscent of Soviet Russia, the state that she apparently hated, as big businessmen were always allowed to watch over their, second-handers. And one paper put it as "Big Sister Rand is watching you."
Right. It's she's an abused housewife of nations states.
Mm-hmm.
She's abusing her husband.
Well, no,
Does
me
he
out.
like it?
Hear me out. She's criticizing this one place, and it's just like they did it the wrong way. I don't even know. I haven't been there that long. I've been writing, but it's the worst. And then, maybe we should do it more like that, but we could do it better because I love him, because he has a Harley, because when he beats me up the next day, he goes, "Sorry for being so drunk yesterday. Can I bring you an IHOP?" The other guy, he would just beat you up and go, "Make me at the pancake."
So, besides the panning, these objectivist youngins like Alan Greenspan and Nathaniel Branden were hard at work keeping her philosophy alive during the 60s, and it led to a resurgence of Atlas Shrugged for the me-centric generation that arose in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
What was that called again?
Today, the me generation.
Oh, aka
the boomers.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Boomington.
So this guy Nathaniel Branden. All right. So Rand was in her late 50s. He was in his 20s. Rand's hole was filled with cobwebs because Frank was drinking himself to death.
All
he
was
like,
holes.
She's like, "Branden, I'm obviously the most intelligent, moral woman you've ever met. And I know you're married and I'm married, but we should have an affair."
I like to highlight moral,
Yeah.
Maybe this is just the Mount Rushmore you need to climb right now, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got to dive into this nerds feeling clit of mine.
Yeah.
It's a rock that I had embedded in there.
It's actually kidney stone.
It's a kidney stone that I shit out the wrong direction.
Yeah. I'm gonna moral all over your chest and stomach.
Yeah. Guys, I've been drinking, so none of these thoughts are really clicking right now.
Yeah.
So bear with me, everyone.
That's fine.
So both of them brought their prospective partners together. So Frank O'Connor, and Barbara. And Rand was like, Brandon and I are we love each other and we're gonna fuck. You guys cool with that? And before they responded, she was like, all right, that's cool. So with that, Brandon was getting that smelly cat lady pussy because, as I mentioned, Rand was not a big fan of hygiene. She wouldn't change her clothes or shower for weeks on end. Brandon would come over, say hi to Frank, and then Rand's husband, and then bone her out on their bed that they slept on.
To quote the great philosopher Owen Wilson, wow.
Wow. Well, yeah, that is what's that word? They let you use cuck a lot, these people.
I never what?
Yeah, you know, the guy
new.
Frank's just sitting there on the couch, you know, elbows on his knees, holding a bottle of liquor, going, yeah, fuck my wife.
Well, he
have a good fuck with my wife.
Yeah, he passed his time while they were fucking. He was a florist and a painter. Some really shitty paintings he drew.
Yeah.
Very bad paintings. Yeah.
It's not good.
And a florist. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's really good with floors.
love the level shit.
So now, in Rand's mind, this affair made sense. She was a powerful woman, the most powerful woman.
Right.
And Brandon, who was like a son to her, which is weird, was the model objectivist man. He was, you know, outstanding, well built, right, whatever.
Tall.
So
blonde.
the sex, the sex was fine because, you know, as you just say, you got to bone upwards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
this-
in comedy, you always got to punch up. In
Yeah.
the bed, you always got to bone up.
So this went on for about 7 years. Eventually, Nathaniel's wife, Barbara, had enough, and the two got separated. Now, by this time, Nathaniel was an objectivist star. Remember, it sounds like kind of like old-timey to be like this hardcore libertarian or whatever, but these were the anti-beatniks. This was all young people, right?
Right.
You know?
Which, you know, interestingly enough, I think the modern day version of this has done like a lot more of a print in society than the Atlas Shrugged objectivists of yesteryear. You know, like no one just brings this up casually when they're talking about the 60s and 70s.
No.
You know, or like they're not like, oh yeah, you remember all those Ayn Rand people?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm
With
sorry
all
they
their-
run the
all their
country,
cut
but
hair.
yeah.
They're all their cut hair and shaved faces.
Yeah, all their strong women and soft men stuff. I don't even know what's going on, to be honest.
Do you see the jawline on these women? Woo!
Yeah.
So Nathaniel's an objectivist superstar. He's giving these speeches everywhere. He's a handsome man. Of course, there's going to be women who follow in Ayn Rand's own philosophy of trying to fuck upwards, right?
Right.
So
She's like-
following
she's
in her vulva steps.
Yeah, she's an old bag. He's like in the prime of his life, right? So there's other people that are like, you know, oh, Nathaniel, he's a nice looking guy. Enter a 23-year-old newlywed, total knockout. I forgot her name. I didn't write it down.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, Nathaniel starts to distance himself from Rand sexually, who is now in her 60s.
Right.
He's like
So standard
early
protocol.
30s. Rand starts to get suspicious. She's like, "What's going on? I need to hold like some weird intervention thing," because she was always up in his business. So
She was a mom. She was
she was the mom.
right.
Yeah.
This is the incest porn that you people are into.
Yeah. So she holds this intervention. She gets Nathaniel, his ex-wife Barbara, and her husband Frank, who I'm assuming really didn't give a fuck. He just
Yeah, why would either of those people care? They're like,
Yeah.
look, she's tired. The man's tired of you. He's a gorgeous mid-20s guy. He wants to fuck his Alexis Texas. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So eventually Rand gets it out of Brendan that and he admitted that he's fucking a younger woman, and she flips out. And it isn't, well, apparently it isn't because she's a younger, hotter chick. It's because she is not an ideal individual like Rand is.
Right, that's the guard, but really at the end of the day, she just misses getting a cum shot while he's going, laissez-faire. Like, she's deprived of this, she's stinky, she's a cat person, no one actually likes her. She tricked a good one for a few months, and then he's out.
Right, so he automatically, remember I said, when you fuck up in this group, you're out. So
you're imperfect once you fuck up.
Yeah, so Brandon, for sticking his pee-pee in the wrong person, is deemed an immoral objectivist. And Rand pretty much sets out to ruin his life. Remember, they had a joint
laissez-faire. Remember,
laissez-faire.
Yeah. They had a joint objectivist publication. Rand has him removed. She had actually dedicated Atlas Shrugged in the original copies. We get an original one. It's dedicated to her husband, Frank O'Connell, and her intellectual protege, Nathaniel Branden. From all the copies onward, Nathaniel was removed.
Fuck, that's a move.
And she just completely outed him and blackmailed him out of the objectivist community because he was gonna come clean, but he was like too much of a cucky boy to like fuck over his idol. It was like this weird fucking thing going on. But he's just completely written out of her life.
There's some kind of pun I'm missing with a white female using black male to get what she wants.
I believe it's called, she gave him a Riley reading.
That's cool.
Yeah. So this miserable cunt, Ayn Rand, outlived her husband, Frank, who drank himself to death. Frank actually told Barbara, Nathaniel's ex-wife, that Rand had ruined his life.
Why do I feel like all Franks either die on the battlefield or from cirrhosis? It's just, if your name is Frank, you die in combat or from liver failure.
It's the mental battlefield, and Frank is a very strong name.
Yeah.
Rand picked her new intellectual heir, that guy I mentioned before, Leonard Peikoff. Now, this dude, she completely beat into the ground. I had mentioned I watched a lecture with him, and the dude is just a complete drone. She just would just like berate this dude hardcore. I don't know if he fucks her, probably, but I mean, he had like a weird mullet perm thing going on.
That's cool.
But he would go on to found the Ayn Rand Institute, which is still around today. I actually watched an interview with their new head, this Israeli guy called Yaron Brook, who was on Ben Shapiro. And it was like two chimps trying to fight over the used condom that fell into their cage.
Wait, Ben Shapiro fighting one of these people. That's got to be really fun. Because he's fun when he gets angry.
They were like kind of in agreement, but except for the fact that Yaron Brook was like, I don't believe in God. And he's like, oh, well, obviously capitalism is about the Judeo-Christian faith.
Of course. Yeah. We have to team together. You eat cracker. I put hat on head. And then we make things happen.
Where'd Tom go?
Yeah. No, Ben Shapiro is hilarious. He really is quite funny. I can't believe people take him seriously. So there's that thought.
It's literally like your dad watching Reno 911 and thinking it's actually like cops.
Right. Oh,
you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yes.
He's doing like a cosplay of intellectualism
and not correcting people when they take him seriously.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that's what he does. I feel really bad for his wife. Let's put it that way.
Before I get to the question, there is one other weird anecdote about Ayn Rand that I want to talk about before she dies. So, as I mentioned, she kind of like, there were times where she was trying to get her family out of Russia, but like things didn't work out because I told you like the Iron Curtain closed. But over the course of the century, most of her family died in Russia. I mean, not from like weird Russian gulags, just people die.
Yeah.
Dying from a gooey log.
One of the people that she thought died was her younger sister, Nora. But she found out when she was in her 70s that Nora was still alive and living in the Soviet Russia. She was retired. Her husband, I think, was like a machinist or something.
That's got to be like an interesting demographic / generation where like when you lose contact with a family member, it's just default assume they're dead.
Yeah.
Like if you fall out of touch, just assume they're not alive and unwilling to communicate with you. They're just dead. that's the easiest. That's the default expectation for like the demographic and generation of like Ayn Rand.
Right. So Ayn Rand, she's got some people in powerful places. I mean, I mentioned Alan Greenspan. I think at this point of her life, he was like working for Gerald Ford or something in the administration.
Real winner there.
Yeah. So she arranged for her sister Nora to come visit her in the U.S. They got the right visas. Come to New York. I'll show you what freedom is. So Nora comes over. Rand is so excited about showing all these American freedoms and whatever. And Nora's just like, whoa, you live in this dump? The streets are so busy.
Ooh,
there's no sense of community. And like, yeah, I might have to wait online when I'm in Russia for food, but like I get a chance to talk to my neighbors, catch up. Like, this is a fucking hellhole you live in.
Right. Yeah, it's there are two kinds of the coin. It's two sides of a coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the coin has come out of an anus. Like, one side isn't necessarily better than the other. They're both covered in shit. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So Nora had a full-on breakdown when she went to the local Dwayne Reed or some shit and tried to pick out toothpaste. She's like, why are there so many fucking toothpastes? Like, in Russia, we have one toothpaste. Why do you need 8 billion toothpaste? You literally had a breakdown in the store.
You know what that's called? Do you know what I like calling that? Analysis paralysis. When you're given more than like 8 options and you're just like, what the fuck? Why bother? Why have options if I'm given like fucking 8 or 10 of them?
It sucks when your entire life feels like a diner menu. Pointless.
Yeah.
Like, I get that concern. Like, there's arguments to make for both ways. I don't know the right answer, but I totally understand that feeling of going, why does Crest in particularly have 30 of this brand? Like, can't they just do, we make your teeth nice? The paste.
Ultra whitening, enamel protect. What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
but shouldn't they just be the best one? Like, it has everything you need in it.
Well, it's
like,
funny.
no, I want my teeth not to be whitened, but like cavity correct.
But we experience this today all the time, and we don't have the emotional equipment to deal with like streaming services doing this to us. Every day it's like, you gotta watch this. And then there's two ways of looking at it. Like, you go into Netflix, they show you the hot documentary, and you don't want to watch it out of spite for Netflix, which you're that close to canceling, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that hot Mormon one. Like, we killed people because we're Mormon. You see that one?
No, I didn't even see that one. I'm there, man. I'm ready to cancel it. I'm gonna do it, guys. Don't push me any further. I'm gonna cancel my Netflix. But all I'm saying is, like, how many times do you find yourself just going through Amazon Prime or Netflix or one of those things, and you could do that for 10 minutes.
That's why I just watched Stargate.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You're a genius.
I'm gonna just get my VHS player, my VHS machine going. My VCR.
Don't you love that lo-fi texture? That's a good drip.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a
just
good
gonna watch
drip.
this. I'm just gonna watch my Three Stooges tape that I ripped off of TBS back in 1999.
In Soviet Russia, one village has one VHS. You share.
We all watch Wizard of Oz with commercials.
In Soviet Russia, each village has one VHS and no VCR.
Yeah,
right.
So all I'm saying is, I get that.
Rand is fucking pissed that Nora's not like, oh my God, America, love it. She's like, this sucks. I hate New York. It's dirty. There's too many people.
Could you imagine if she was on her way over to America going, there are no cats in America and the streets are made with cheese. And then she gets there and she's like, Ayn Rand, my sister, your entire apartment is cats.
Wow.
Yeah, so Ayn Rand completely writes Nora out of her life. She actually went to her executor and like wrote any family members out of the will, like explicitly.
Nice.
To make sure that Nora didn't get any money.
Good.
And Nora was actually interviewed in the 90s after Rand had died, and she was like, the funny thing is like, no matter how much my sister screamed about the immorals of altruism from her family was the only reason why she was able to go to America.
Love it.
Like the charity from her family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, you front loaded that. I haven't been able to digest it. I guess I'll just die with this like blockage in my GI tract of Ayn Rand only being able to get to America with altruism.
Yeah. So, you guys want to ask me the question?
Cody, you do it.
Travis William Lee, how did this bitch cake die?
So Ayn Rand, remember I said she Cruella de Vil smoked cigarettes all the time?
Yeah.
I do.
She ended up losing a lung. They cut out a whole fucking lung because of her smoking. She refused to admit that it was the smoking, blaming it on the damn commies from her childhood.
Okay.
It's so much funnier if you just say she lost a lung, like she's forgetful.
Yeah, whoops.
Oh, shit.
And on March 6th, 1982, the bitch queen, Ayn Rand, died of heart failure.
What the fuck age
Not
is
the
that?
lung.
What is that, like 75?
70. She was born in 1905.
Yeah. Like,
75. So she did it. Imagine, like,
that's wacky as shit.
What ticked her off? You know what? What was the event that made the heart go, we're done here? Was she screaming in the middle of Times Square, Sbarro, going, let me use the bathroom? And they were like, no, it's for customers only. And she's just like, laissez-faire. Look at this tomato.
Well, Tom pieced together everything.
Well, she got all there in the book. It was like all like she got all mushy about Frank and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna die because I could be with him, even though I don't believe in heaven." Like that type of shit.
Right. Okay. She sounds like an annoying person. I don't know if I said that before, but she really sounds annoying.
Yeah. Also, I think a point that I didn't super touch on, but also incredibly racist.
I kind of assumed that.
Yeah.
I mean, she went off, on wild tangents about Arabs being like not developed culture and the fact that Indians didn't own any property because they don't believe in it and all that shit. And also, like I said, like Jim Crow shit where she's like, everyone in America has freedom. It's like, nah, they don't.
Right.
Yep.
Well, look, I mean, between us, we've done this show so many times where a lot of the people we cover, it's just kind of, are they racist? Probably. Was that probably part of their bag? Is that really a highlight anymore? We do historic deep dives on all kinds of weirdos. It's not, we don't really have that like big, like, and she was racist in our pocket anymore. We don't have that ammo. It just happens that most of these people are that.
But no, I was very surprised because I always thought that she was like this beacon of libertarianism, which she is, but like probably shouldn't be.
Look, Jesus Christ is a beacon of Christianity, and that dude used to fuck. You talk a modern day Christian, they go, oh, no. You can't watch that movie, Little Women, because there's a single mother.
That's obscene.
So I don't know.
that.
None of this adds up.
But yeah, now you know. Now you know if you're a libertarian boy out there, maybe you shouldn't quote Ayn Rand.
Yeah, but maybe it's fine. Look, I don't know. Like, I like to play devil's advocate. End of the day, it's all going to hell anyway. So think whatever you want. Just don't put a lot of stock in it. Just go to Buffalo Wild Wings with your boys when you can. Wear a mask and share your friends.
Yeah,
with the world in a weird way, in a sexual way as well.
In an extra sexual way.
Yes. Travis, thank you very much.
Way.
I purposely,
Yes.
I want to say this, that I did, you told me we're doing Ayn Rand a while ago. I purposely didn't do any research. Now, I had heard some things, but like all the things I heard were through people who liked her, and that's alarming to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I've never spoke kindly about anyone. Like, why are you saying this to me? So I made it a point to listen to your take on it, my very sexual socialist friend. I want to hear what you said, and I feel like you did some. I'm going to do some fact checking later for myself, but I feel like you did a nice picture paint there.
Yeah. So this was actually one of the last conversations I had with my dad. I talked to him about that. I was researching Ayn Rand, and he said from the fucking hospital bed, roast that bitch.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because he had decreased lung functionality.
Yeah, and he was like, fuck that whore. She's one of the people that fucking killed me.
How about one sip to Dick real quick?
Yeah, sip a dick.
Sip a dick.
Cheers to Dick Lee.
All right,
Yes.
more beer left.
And with that, I'm going to throw my laissez-faire out here.
Oh, no.
Patreon.com/roastmortemcast.
I guess that's
Give
fine.
us your money. We're working
we don't
on...
worry about We don't worry about child labor laws either.
No, we don't. We have several kids that are working for us around the clock. In all seriousness, we're working on the Patreon thing. We know it's been weird times for us. We have a lot of shit going on, and we apologize to some of the page. I'm just throwing it out there publicly. We've been a little behind on some of the Patreon perks, but
life is happening for us right now.
Yeah, life's been weird. We're gonna make it up to everyone here. We're gonna be putting out some more bonus content and stuff like that. And we appreciate everyone that's been hanging out with us and doing the Patreon thing and the Discord channel.
Yeah,
thank
you guys
you all.
are awesome.
Yeah. So patreon.com/roastmortemcast if you want. If not, no big deal. Go to social medias, roastmortemcast for both Twitter, Instagram. We have a Facebook. We don't use that one, but go, if you're on it, go like it. It helps. There's a thing. Give us a review. Give us a 5-star. Give us a 1-star. Nothing in between, okay? Give us an honest review.
Yeah.
I like that. I like extremes only.
I want more people giving us 1-stars with location bias. Like, I went to Hawaii once. Fuck all of you. I heard one of you guys is from Hawaii. Fuck Hawaii. There's like this one palm tree that fell on my broad.
Yeah, coconut killed my wife. Fuck this podcast.
Sorry, that was actually a native, and you got too drunk and couldn't bang her out, and she got tired of you. That wasn't a palm tree. That was a man with a hat. All right. Anyway, thanks, guys.
It's confusing.
Travis, thanks for doing the show.
Good shit.
Cody,
Donald Shane.
looking good. Fucking being at it.
Thank you.
Mike.
Tom, keep getting yoked.
I'm yoked. All right, and thank you, Shane, for listening.
Danky.
Donald
Danky to
Shane.
everyone. Well,
Right.
bye.
Bye.